What's up, everybody? This is the PlayStation Lifestyle Underground Podcast. We are an unofficial podcast of PlayStationLifestyle.net. I am Hugo Stiglitz. You can find me on PSN as Hugo Stiglitz _420. And I got two other guys with me today. You guys want to say hi?
Yeah, sure. I'm Steve Bitto. I'm the community manager for PlayStation Lifestyle. You can find me on the PlayStation Network as Tyler X Durden, or on the PlayStation Lifestyle forums as Steven Bitto.
Hey, I'm Wani Barra, and on PSN, my name is Jackman1997. I'm also in the forums as Johnny Barra.
Awesome. And lately, I've been playing a lot of racing games. I got F1 2015 yesterday. I've been playing that almost non-stop since then. Last week, I got an older F1 game that I always wanted to try. It was made by the guys who made Wipeout, Studio Liverpool. And I also got the PSP port of that same game. And it ended up being one of the best handheld racing games I've ever played, which was pretty nice. Also, lots of Rocket League. I pretty much play that almost every day now, like at least for a couple games, because it's so easy to hop on and off with that game because there's only 5-minute matches. Also, been playing Project Cars here and there, and I'm trying to get through the last Tinker City of Colors. It's a really, really good game, especially if you like 3D platformers. And I've been really enjoying it. I'm almost at the end, I think. And also, I've played
that
through the PS4 version of Journey.
Does that game have a jump button? I remember reading that
it doesn't.
That you can't jump in it.
It doesn't, but it's still.
And how does that work? Does it?
It's still pretty challenging though. Like you press R2 to either run or to do the plot, to jump on stuff. But they still. It's not like it's easy mode. Like it is automatic if there's at the beginning, but they get to later in the game where you have to do certain stuff in it, and it can get pretty challenging. Not like super hard, but it's not as it's not as bad as it might sound to some people about the whole automatic jumping. Like personally, I don't mind it at all. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of 3D platformers though, to be honest.
Okay.
Also, I finished up Arkham Knight. Loved it. It's my favorite in the series by a mile. I finished up the Vanishing Ethan Carter. That was also really, really good. And I replayed Journey, the PS4 version, like maybe 3 times so far. But that's pretty much it for me. What have you guys been playing lately?
Since I actually just got back from Hawaii on Thursday, so I haven't really played a whole lot since then. I played a little bit on my Vita while I was away. I finished Final Fantasy X HD, and after that I played a little Assassin's Creed Liberation, which I like that game, but I just can't bring myself to play it for some reason. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe it's
all right.
Maybe it's the
and then
audio
quality. I'm gonna get I picked up Bastion over the weekend, so I'm downloading that now. It was only $3.25 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cheap. So.
That's why I got it
so
too.
Then I picked up that, and I picked up. I'm going to pre-order. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which comes out Tuesday.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm
Me too.
For that.
And if you end up liking that, I have to recommend Vanishing Ethan Carter because it is kind of a similar type of game. But yeah, I'll let you get onto it.
Yeah.
Sorry, Juan. Don't mean to interrupt.
I probably will. Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah. Let's see what I've been playing. I've been doing my. I started playing Peace Walker maybe about a year ago.
Oh, cool.
I didn't like it. Stopped playing it. Didn't want to go back to it. But I recently I've been forcing myself to get through it, and I'm loving it. It's really good. It just takes a while to get used to the fact that it's a PSP game turned into a PS3 game because I'm playing the HD version. And it's a great game. I love it a lot. I'm enjoying it. Right now, I'm close to the end, I think. Other than that, I finished Dying Light. I started and finished Dying Light. Had fun with that. Some cool parkour mechanics in there that I feel like every first-person game should have.
I agree, yeah.
Very smooth running and stuff. It's a great game. Other than that, I play Rocket League from time to time. I've been playing on my PS Vita that Stealth Inc. 2, because the first one was good. It's just like fun little side game to play. It's like fun puzzles to do. So I enjoy that. And Other than that, I'm just waiting for Metal Gear Solid 5, and that's about it.
Yeah, I can't believe that's only like 3 or 4 weeks away. Not even 4 weeks away, I think.
Yeah,
it's
close.
Unbelievable. I can't wait. I've actually been replaying the Metal Gears too. I'm gonna play through 4, but I'm not sure if I'm gonna replay Peace Walker. I did like it, but yeah, I don't think I have to replay it before 5 comes out. But
yeah, its structure is a little odd. But
yeah,
sorry.
And I don't know. I kind of wasn't a huge fan of the comic booky style cutscenes. Like I kind of wish they just made them like regular like cutscenes like they always have. But yeah, that's besides the point. It's still a really good game though. But yeah, this week we have a pretty cool topic. We're gonna be giving our best 5 games list. And it's not our favorite 5 games. I know for me personally, my favorite 5 would be a very different list, but it's the games that we think are the best ever, at least of the games that we have played or have enough knowledge to really judge upon them. My personal top number 5 is going to be Half-Life 2, including episodes 1 and 2. It's obviously like a really, really influential game as far as like the first-person shooter genre, and I also think it's probably one of the best ever, just because it's as high quality as you could get back then, like as far as just like the gameplay and the graphics, but also it's just so much fun to play. Like even now, I didn't play it till I think a year or two ago. And it's just amazing. And now I wasn't totally sold on it first, like when I first just played Half-Life 2, but it was really when I played episodes 1 and 2 that it really drove the point home that this is one of the best games of all time. And like those 2 episodes that they added as DLC are just confirmed to me why a lot of people consider it to be one of the best games ever, and definitely the best FPS ever. Like I've seen a number 1 on a lot of lists for that type of thing. And you know, after playing those episode 1 and 2, I'm finally seeing it, and I definitely agree. It has everything. It has platforming, it has shooting, it has some really awesome sequences and different gameplay mechanics, and like I mean, there's even some horror elements. Like when you go to, I think it's called Ravenholm. It's almost like a kind of like a horror game at that point, and the rest of it's just a really, really cool game. And if anyone hasn't played it, I couldn't recommend it more highly, especially if you like single player first person shooters. Have you guys been lucky enough to play that game, or is it just me?
I actually I've never played it. I do own the orange box for PS3.
Yeah,
but I never really got around to trying it out.
Yeah, no.
I think
never played it before.
I think that does include those 2 episodes, so you should definitely give it a try. I'm not sure how good the PS3 version is.
I know it had issues for sure.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why I never really got into it, because I didn't want to get in and then like not be able to finish.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something I need to get around to.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have a PC, like I actually played Half-Life 2 on my laptop, and it's a piece of crap laptop. So I mean, it can run on basically anything. Half-Life games and those episodes, like so I mean, if it's worth trying either way, like on PS3 or on PC. Because yeah, like I've actually only ever played Half-Life 2 on my laptop, which is a piece of junk compared to my gaming PC. So you could probably run it on even any of your laptops or whatever if you try. So. That's too bad. I mean, we started with one that only one of us has played, but
that's all right.
I don't know. One of you guys want to go next?
Moving to other ones we have.
All right, yeah, I'll go next. And just kind of as a forward, like mine, I've never been a big PC gamer, so all that basically is kind of out the window. And I also didn't really get like hardcore into games until like the PS1 N64 era. So just keep that in mind, because I looked at my list and I felt like it was way too limited to like more recent stuff. But at the same time, those are kind of the games that are doing things like really well. Everything all together really well.
It's probably going to
Yeah.
be the same for my list. Like most of my list is more modern stuff too.
Yeah.
Same here. Mine's all modern.
I mean, I did
So-
play Nintendo and NES and stuff, but I just, I don't really think any of those games are the best ever, in my opinion. at least.
Really? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So, without further ado, my fifth best game of all time is Uncharted 2.
Nice.
I just felt like,
Good.
looking back, like, I know it's not the most original, I know it's not the most groundbreaking with gameplay or anything like that, but I feel like it does that full package the best of any game. It has the best presentation, best graphics, best story, best acting. Like, it really was one of the first games that really brought that cinematic experience all into one package. And it, actually, when I did play it the first time, I immediately played it again the second time, like as soon as I finished.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's definitely one of my favorite games of all time, and I really do think it's like one of the masterpieces on PS3.
For sure. I mean, it is actually on my list as well. It's a little higher, but I totally agree.
Same
it's
here.
Nice. It's what I really love about it is just it's such a universally like it has so much universal appeal to it, I think, but it still is still completely pleasing to the hardcore gamers and the casuals at the same time, while not having any drawbacks as a result of that. Like in my opinion, at least. I mean, some people love to complain about cinematics and like cutscenes, but I just think it does it perfectly, and the pacing of it is almost perfect. The gameplay is amazing. Like, I think it had, like, the whole Uncharted series in general has some of probably the best third-person shooting there is. And I also just really love the fact that it combines platforming with that. Like, I really love the fact that there's platforming in it, and
that it works so well. It's not like
Yeah.
there was issues
Smooth.
with it, like such a realistic 3D world. Like Uncharted 1 had issues, making that work perfectly. But Uncharted 2, like the recognition of all the like surfaces, it was all so good.
Mhm.
Like I never really had issues figuring out where to go and stuff like that. I don't know. Like I really do feel like it is like the best full package on PS3.
I totally
definitely
agree,
is.
and I mean at certain points that was my I thought that was the best game of all time for a while, and I wouldn't argue with someone if they did say it was. I mean, it's just such a really well done game, and it's basically Naughty Dog at their best, realizing their full potential, technically and as far as just like the game itself. I mean, obviously the graphics for a PS3 game was astonishing. But also just the the gameplay, the story, everything you mentioned. Basically, it's just a masterpiece in my opinion, and it's a game that I think that pretty much every gamer should play. Like, it's one of those games I think everyone should play, and I'd say 95% of them are gonna like it. In my opinion, but yeah, it is one of my favorite games, so I'm a little biased. But I don't know. Anything else, or Juan, you wanna give us your number 5, or?
Hey, go for it, Juan.
All right, will do. My number 5 is a bit controversial. It's not my favorite, of course. It's just sort of one that I feel did something so well that it deserves to be on this list, and it's Destiny. Destiny, as no matter what people say about it, it's people always are bad mouthing it. They got their own problems with it, but the fact that this game I don't know of any other game or console game for one, any other console game that has had this large of a fan base for such an empty game, for lack of a better word. It still surprises me how many players play it on the daily. I don't know what it is that it keeps attracting people, and if you play it and you get into it, you get stuck in it for a good while. I was playing it, I was stuck in it for like 2 or 3 months. It's very addictive. It sticks you with it, and I don't know what it is about it. It all blends so perfectly that it works it's a fantastic formula, really. But yeah, that's Destiny.
Yeah, see, I started out playing Destiny on my own, and I really did not like it at all. And I think part of the problem was that I was playing alone. I wasn't playing with a group. And that's probably,
Definitely
what made it not as enjoyable. But it is remarkable how they kind of took the MMO model and the FPS model, which, they already had done so well with Halo. And they kind of made the two come together. And like you said, it is kind of an empty game. But they use those two strategies to, make something so addictive that it just has worked so well for them.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you really have to be excited with whatever comes next, because I feel like that will be more like the better game, the much better, the full game that everyone expected, but just as addictive as Destiny 1.
Yeah, they'll take all the problems from the first one, correct them in the second one,
right,
and see how it goes.
Yeah, personally, I really don't like Destiny at all. I think the shooting mechanics are probably among some of the best ever, but as a game, I think it's I personally really don't like it. I think it's very shallow. Like you guys said, there's not a whole lot of content, and just the grindy nature of it. And I understand that's how a lot of MMOs are, but because there's so little content, it makes it just that much more grindy for me. And I didn't play it by most of the time I played it was with from friends, because when it first came out, and especially through the beta, that's all we were doing. But once I hit level 20, it just became pretty readily apparent to me that it was just either I was going to have to just keep grinding away at those missions that I've already done, or just stop playing. And I chose to stop playing, and I really feel like it's a huge missed opportunity. And also, one of the things I really didn't like about it is the fact that there's no voice chat for public. There's, in your fire team, but I feel like that's a huge missed opportunity. It's an open world where you're going to be running into random players online, and I really feel like that if they had public voice chat, proximity voice chat, it would have just completely made it that much more fun. Because I think generally in that type of setting, you'll find that people are much more friendly than you'd expect. There are obviously trolls and a lot of assholes on, many video games, but that's not a competitive setting. I'm not talking about PvP. I'm talking about PvE, where you'll be wandering around and you'll run into people, and I feel like that was just a huge mistake not to include voice chat there. And
I kind of have to agree. Yeah, when I was playing at the beginning, I'd run into people and they just kind of do wave. Their the little wave, and I'd be like, okay, see
bye.
You later.
Yeah, agreed. That game would benefit from a proximity voice chat. That would really help it out.
Yeah, my other main complaint too was I felt like they laid all this groundwork for all this story, and then none of it was connected to really what I was doing.
Oh yeah, that's the other huge problem.
You know what I mean? Story. It's all laid out. There's all kinds of information all over the place, and it looks like stuff is supposed to be there. Kind of like when I was running around, I expected to be like Skyrim. I'm gonna discover places to explore and stuff, but there was just nothing there. It seemed like it was set up specifically to be like that, but then it just wasn't.
That like I said, it's it has its problems, but I mean, it's just astounding what it's become as a platform, not as a game, but just as a platform, people to go on. It's crazy.
Right.
As a game, though, it does have its small little quirks, problems like that.
I mean, it will definitely be a trendsetter for this generation, I think, especially because backed by a huge publisher. I think the other main publishers are going to be silly to not have their own Destiny.
Yeah.
Or at least try to.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it means there'll be more sci-fi games in the future, but I really hope it doesn't mean that there's going to be more always online or MMO type games, because that's another thing I don't like about Destiny is that's clearly a game you could play by yourself offline, and they don't let you. I hate always online games, and I feel like that's a good example of a game that doesn't need to be like that. Because I mean, you do run into other players, but there's no point that you need them. Because I mean, unless you decide to fire team up with them, which is might be a little unlikely because you can't talk to them. So it's yeah, that's just another thing I didn't like about it, and it's one of the few games that I would have actually traded in or returned if I could have, but I stupidly got it digitally, and yeah, that's probably my biggest regretful purchase I've ever made as far as gaming goes, to be honest. So
wow, that's a
yeah. So I'm not a big Destiny fan, you could say. So
yeah.
All right, Hugo,
yeah.
you want to give us number 4?
Oh yes, number 4. Number 4, Metal Gear Solid 1.
Nice.
It's a game that I absolutely love. I never played it until the beginning of last year, and I was totally amazed at how far ahead of its time it was. Like, I'm a person that really appreciates story and good voice acting and good gameplay, and I was just amazed at how undated it felt. Like, it looks dated because of the graphics, although not super bad. There's definitely a lot worse graphics as far as PS1 games, that's for sure. But I don't know, it's just that it's Metal Gear. Like, you know, I mean, Metal Gear is an amazing franchise, and I feel like that game is Metal Gear at its purest, and it's the game that pretty much set up the rest of the series, and I feel like it might have the strongest standalone story in the series. I mean, you could arguably say Metal Gear Solid 3 does as well, but I just really loved it, and in the second time I played it this year, I was just even that more impressed with it. It's really incredible that they did that on PS1, and how it's still, you know, reverberating through the gaming industry even today. And like the game mechanics were solid. I mean, especially for a PS1 game, and it's just an awesome game with an incredible story. That I'll personally never forget. What do you guys think about it?
I actually never played Metal Gear Solid. I watched it once on YouTube because I got the HD collection, but I couldn't get into the HD collection after I watched the first one. So that kind of was unfortunate, but I mean, I loved what I saw of it. I thought it definitely looks like it's way ahead of its time with the open world, kind of an open world, you know, type feel, where you're backtracking over environments and stuff like that. All the different characters, like, I thought that was really cool too.
Yeah,
and the boss fights, can't forget about the boss fights. That's for sure.
The boss fights are phenomenal. Yeah,
the third.
I always remember like just that case, that total, like, just the title on the case like that with the white background. I thought that was so cool. I remember thinking, like, seeing that and that's like one of the games was so intimidating. Like that in Final Fantasy VII were just like so iconic. I had seen it so many times in like the game magazines and stuff.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty important because back then most video games were like kind of directed towards the younger audience, and that was one of the early games to do things towards you know, more towards adults. You know what I mean? Like, it was the more mature type of game, and you know, the Final Fantasy games as well, but like 7. But I think that's another key factor to it. It's one of the early games to be adult, and although, like, I'm not really valuing these games so high because they're influential. That's kind of like a side effect of it. These are in my list because I think these are just the best games. Like, I just really love them all as a game, and although I keep talking about how influential they are, that didn't factor into my choices at all. I just wanted to say that. Like, they are influential, but that's not why I picked them.
fair enough.
All right.
Okay, so like I'll go on my number 4. My fourth best game of all time is Journey, and the reason why I say that is because I feel like Journey was not only just an amazing experience for those people that played it, but I feel like it's one of those games that changed the way people view an entire genre. You know, Flower was great, Flow was great, but Journey was the one that really made indie not a bad term anymore. You know, it made that mean something more than it did before. which you can't really say that for a lot of games. Not only was it like a polished, amazing experience, but that's what introduced like the main audience, the main gamer, the average gamer to indies, and now they're playing games like, Everybody's Gone to the Rapture or I don't know, Transistor, amazing experiences that they probably would not have checked out otherwise.
Yeah, it's funny.
It was certainly there at the rise of the indie games.
It's funny because I was watching the trailer of Everyone's Gone to the Rapture, and I saw in the comments someone saying, what do you actually do? And my response was, does that really matter? Like, this is the type of game where what really matters is the experience, and I use Journey as the example because it's not really what you're doing. It's just the overall experience and the journey that you go on. And hopefully, Everyone's Gone to the Rapture is, on that level, hopefully, because if not, like, I feel like that type of game, that type of exploratory experience type game could be very bad if it doesn't work out right. But when it works out well, like Journey, it's just incredible. And it's definitely one of my favorite games of all time. And like, I think if you really just open your mind to it and really let it take you where it wants you to go, it's just an incredible experience and one that you're not going to forget. But there are some people that play, if they don't play it with the right mindset, they might not be impressed with it or not totally enjoy it, which is a shame. But like for the people that do, they do get it, or they do let themselves get taken by the game, it's just incredible. And personally, I have to say that it's the greatest soundtrack in video game in history, in my opinion. I just love that soundtrack, and that's one of the prime reasons I replay it as many times as I have. Also, another really cool thing about it is when you get the white robe, it's a lot more fun, I think, and also just helping new players to find all the different symbols. That can be a really, really joyful experience, and that's what I was experiencing when I replayed it on PS4. And that was just one extra aspect to the game that I already loved the game from playing it my first times, but that just added to it, just the whole fact that you can really help people, and it's just a really feel good type of game.
Right.
And yeah.
All right, Juan, number 4.
That's right, number 4. My number 4 is Jak and Daxter on PlayStation 2. I think that the reason why it's on here is because I played it at a very, the perfect time in my life, to where like I was fairly new to gaming. I never played big games before, and then I'm playing this game. It's all bright, it's colorful, it's like a cartoon. I'm all into it. I'm just jumping all over the place, and then it didn't hit me until years later. Whenever I started, I got into actual gaming, and I actually read news sites, and I read a bunch of news on it, and then I started seeing that people were saying that Jak and Daxter had no loading screens. And I thought, wow, that's phenomenal. It surprised me. Even though I'd played the game, I hadn't noticed it, but this game was ahead of its time. It's no loading screens whatsoever, and it's the game it also feels like there's no fat on it. It's just trimmed down to a perfect platforming exploration type of experience. Fairly enjoyed it when I played it. I played it 2 years ago whenever I got the HD collection. Still enjoyed it even then. It still feels as perfect as it did. When was it? 10, 12, 15 years ago?
A while back now.
Yeah.
I've actually never played Jak and Daxter, but I've been waiting for a long time for the HD collection to go on sale for the Vita, because that would be so great to take on trips and stuff. Because it's just like a PS2 platforming game. You can just knock out little chunks here and there.
I haven't played it either. I do have the collection on PS3, and I was going to mention that, the Vita version, because I also feel like that type of game would be perfect for the Vita. But I hear that the port for the Vita is actually pretty bad, so that's why I haven't got it yet.
Oh, really?
But I don't know. People also
the frame
said
rate
that
dips down pretty low.
Yeah, that's what I hear about the Ratchet and Clank collection too. But people also said that about Borderlands 2, which in my experience isn't the case at all. And same thing with the God of War collection on Vita. People have made a lot of complaints about the frame rates on those, and in my experience, they were absolutely fine. Borderlands only had one frame rate issue, which was in Sanctuary, but that's a non-combat area. So I don't know, maybe it's just people talking crap. Like some people complain about that sort of stuff more than others. So maybe it's not true. I don't know. I'd say it's worth the try though, because it's just I hear it's an amazing game, and that's definitely a game, a whole series I really have to get on, and Mass Effect's one of them as well that I have on PS3, the whole collection, and just haven't been able to get through them. But yeah, no, now I'm looking forward to playing those finally even more now that you put them in your top 5. Let me just say that.
Yeah, the first one's really great. The tone changes after the first one.
Really?
But yeah, the tone changes a lot.
Huh.
But it's still good. 2 and 3 are still really good. Because it feels like just playing through that series. It feels like you're playing the transition period of how Naughty Dog became who they are today. Like they went from Crash Bandicoot to The Last of Us, you know. And that series, they tried a lot of different things with that series, where it feels like they were experimenting for their future series, like Uncharted and The Last of Us.
Yeah, and the fact that you say that's the best one just motivates me even more to play that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I guess it's time for my number 3.
Yes, it is.
Uncharted 2.
Right.
So, I mean, we already talked about it. Like I said, it was on my list a little higher, but yeah, amazing game, and I think it's pretty cool that it's on all 3 of our lists. But we've pretty much said it all about that one. So,
okay. My number 3
Next one, Steve.
is I have this is where I just had a really hard time picking. I was thinking, I thought about Heavy Rain, and then I thought about Mass Effect 2, and then I couldn't not have The Last of Us on my list. So I went with The Last of Us. I just feel like that took the Uncharted, the greatness of Uncharted, and kind of took it to the next level by making it more of like a influential movie. Something that wasn't the popcorn flick, wasn't the safe choice. It really went out on a limb. The ending is amazing, historic. And I just felt like it really showed what was possible with PS3, and it's probably the peak of the PS3's generation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a pretty influential game for storytelling.
And one thing we didn't say about Uncharted 2, which I think we should also talk about with The Last of Us, is multiplayer. I think The Last of Us multiplayer is one of the best that I've ever played. It's really, really cool, and when it came out, there wasn't a whole lot of games like that at all. I'm not totally sure there has ever been any multiplayer games like it. And I just think it's really, really well done. It's really, really balanced. And it's challenging, but in a way that makes sense. Like if you're losing, you understand why. Like it's because your team's not working together. It's not just because whatever reasons there are for other games. And I think it's a really excellent game, and I think it's cool because it's a stealth multiplayer game, and you really don't see a whole lot of those. My closest comparison is maybe the Assassin's Creed multiplayer, because that was kind of like the same idea, where you wanted to be in stealth before you made your kill. So like that, that just shows how special the multiplayer was for The Last of Us. And Uncharted it seemed like it had really awesome multiplayer too. I didn't play a ton of the 2's multiplayer, but what I did play was amazing. But yeah.
All right, that's
Are we done with that one for now?
I guess so. Last of Us. There's not much that can be said for
seriously,
that.
what more can you really say?
Yeah. I guess we're on to number 3, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. My number 3 was Uncharted 2.
Yeah, that is like a pretty safe place for it to land, and that's kind of why. Like, I was debating whether that or Last of Us would be there, but I kind of felt Last of Us was more of the peak of the PlayStation 2. That's why I put it a little bit higher.
Yeah,
there you go.
I gotta admit, it was kind of hard for me to choose between the two of them, but yeah, I agree. Basically,
All right, so skipping right ahead.
Oh,
Number
okay.
two.
Number 2, Shadow of the Colossus.
Ooh.
This, I don't even know if there's enough to say about that game. It's just so amazing, and there's a lot of like untangible stuff about the whole game as an experience that it just really, I don't know, it really resonates with myself and a lot of other people, like as a story and just as a really cool experience. But also, like, I think the gameplay was fantastic. I mean, although some of the controls were a little bit weird, like as far as like, you know, using the horse, but they were so simple that was kind of another cool part about the game, is because it's like you learn how to play it, and that just makes it a little more interesting than, you know, your average action type video game. And plus, like, the bosses were just incredible. Like, the fact that you know you're fighting these giant bosses, but they're also kind of puzzles. And it's like I don't think anyone had ever thought of something like that before. Like the atmosphere of the game, like the art design, the music, the open world. I mean, everything. It's just an absolutely incredible game, and it's why I am very much looking forward to The Last Guardian, because it's another one of those games that I didn't play until recently. Like, I played it maybe a year or two ago, but it's a game that I just absolutely love, and like I feel like it is one of the best games ever. And yeah, so I think you guys have played that one, right?
Yeah.
No, I actually have only played about half of it. I have it on PS3, but I've only played about half.
Yeah, you gotta finish that game.
Oh yeah, it gets like better. Like, the ending is pretty incredible, but like
yeah,
it just has that Team Ico style too, which I just absolutely love. Like, just have such a unique art style and vision and atmosphere. It's just so cool. I love that game.
It's a great game. I'm very excited for The Last Guardian because of it as well.
Yeah, and it's the same people. I mean, as far as we know, like Ueda, he's pretty much the mastermind behind it, and he's still very much in control. So, very good sign for The Last Guardian.
Exciting.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Steve, you wanna?
Yeah, sure. My number 2 is a game that I kind of factored in influence quite a bit, not only on me but on the industry as a whole, and that's Grand Theft Auto 3.
Huh. Nice.
When that came out on PS2, nothing really like that had been done on consoles yet.
Yeah.
You know, not only as far as open worlds go, but even just like visual violence. You know, not only was it like influential to making games, but just on games in the media, like nothing has been talked about as much as that outside of maybe Doom when Columbine happened. But just being so influential on making games like relevant to the normal person, the average person, it's just so important to gaming in general.
Yeah, and that was like PS2's really big system seller as well. I remember like it was yesterday, going over my friend Travis's house to check out this game and seeing it, and just all of our jaws were dropped watching this thing because we just couldn't believe the type of things that you could do, and it's an amazing game. Like I think it's I actually thought it was better than Vice City and pretty much the rest of the series, other than San Andreas and 5. But it's like, yeah, it's a hugely influential and incredible game. I mean, it's just an amazing achievement, and I think it really put the PS2 on the map, and it's probably one of the biggest reasons that the PS2 ended up being the best selling console of all time.
And yeah, that too, like you kind of like overlook that without that game, like a lot of the PS2's best games may not have really like took off like they did if they didn't have such a wide user base to sell to.
Yeah, because I think GTA is just like it's a really widely appealing type of game. I mean, although it's very, very adult, but it totally appeals to like teenagers too, because it has all the stuff that, you know, teenagers like only would dream of doing. Like they like when I was a kid, personally, I never thought they would ever make a game where you could do that type of stuff, you know, like drive around, kill cops, get a hooker, drive a tank, mow down everybody. Like it's like a very violent game, and I used to play it so much that it did like mess with my head for a little while. Like I'd be like driving in traffic and wanting to just smash into the people to get around them and stuff. Like, like I really played that game a lot, and I didn't play a ton of games on PS2 in that generation. Like, but that was like the one that I just played over and over and over again. So, yeah, no, I'm totally with you on that one. Like, it's definitely an incredible game. What do you think, Juan? You played that, right?
No, never played it.
No.
So yeah, I don't have much to say.
You have played GTA games, though, right?
I played 5. that's it.
Oh wow.
Well, that's another amazing thing about 3 is the formula hasn't changed very much at all. Like it's still, they've added a lot. They've added a lot, but it's still
and polished it quite a bit. But yeah.
Oh yeah, totally polished, but it's still the same basic formula, and I think that just shows like what a good game it was, because it's still viable today. In my opinion, like
that's actually a great point. Like how much even of the controls, how much of the aesthetic is still like almost exactly the same. Like when you pick up a car, when you enter a new city, the HUD. Like, all that stuff is so almost unchanged over time. That's crazy.
Yeah, like, I thought the driving in 3 was much better than the driving in 4. And, I thought that it was really well done. Like, and the shooting was, you know, pretty much GTA standard for that generation, at least. It's just a really good game. Yeah, it's worth checking out someday if it's on sale, Juan. You wanna
one day.
You wanna do your number 2, Juan?
My number 2 was the Shadow of the Colossus. So
that
was...
good man.
Yeah.
Well, so that's 2 in a row that
right,
we have the same. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on to my number 1. The Last of Us.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing I would love to add about it is everyone always, when they talk about The Last of Us, they talk about the story, they talk about the graphics, but to me, the best thing about it is the gameplay. I absolutely love the gameplay, and what really showed me that is like the first time I played it on easy, just because I wanted to get through the story and experience that quickly and not, you know, ever get frustrated with difficulty, which I knew it was going to be a difficult game just because of the clickers insta-killing you and all that. But when I put it on Survivor, it just really made me realize how well done the gameplay in this game is. It's so much fun to play even now. Like some people say that because it's so linear that it's not replayable. I just completely disagree, because the stealth of it makes it so challenging, and it really makes you think, and it tests your patience, and I just think that's like a mark of a really good game. Like any game that is that different when you change the difficulty, like you pretty much have to play it
That's actually a
stealth.
great point.
Yeah, like you pretty much have to play it 100% stealth when you put it on Survivor, or even worse is Grounded. Grounded is harder, like the AI smarter. You do have more bullet damage, but they also damage you a little more, but you don't have a HUD. So you can't see where your health is. Like I've played a little bit of it on Grounded, but I haven't played the whole game yet. I've done it twice on Survivor, and like that, I think that's one thing that has to be said about The Last of Us is it's not just what everyone loves to talk about and point out with the story, which is amazing. I'll never forget the story for the rest of my life. And you know the graphics, like I have to point out that I think one of the best things about it is that the gameplay is every bit as good as the graphics and the story, and that's also a reason why the multiplayer is so successful. So I think it's a rare package to have such a good single player game, but also have such an amazing multiplayer mode on top of it. And yeah, I don't think there's much else that can be said about that game. I mean, it's
yeah.
I feel like the praise it gets is very well deserved, and that's why it's my number one.
It's a masterpiece.
Absolutely.
It's a great overall package.
100%. Yeah.
Okay, so my
Steve,
number one best game of all time is Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
And I know a lot of people don't always agree with that, but in my mind, I think not only is it one of my favorite games of all time because of the story, you know, the depth, but also because it really showed an entire generation that there was more to games than shooters and Mario games. You know, because I mean, PlayStation had the equivalent of, you know, Crash. They had like their shooter games, but Final Fantasy VII was a JRPG, so it was something that on the SNES there were great ones, but they weren't ones that like the mainstream average gamer could pick up and play and really enjoy.
Yeah.
By introducing it to like a more science fiction type setting, it was something that was more recognizable to the average person. And then I've played almost every Final Fantasy game since then. So, and I know I'm not alone on that. You know, a lot of people not only like Final Fantasy VII, but they've given, you know, all JRPGs a chance. Or even Western RPGs, really, because I wouldn't have played games like Oblivion or Skyrim later had I not gotten into RPGs on the PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's...
I never played it, so
Yeah.
I don't have any point of
neither.
reference.
I mean, I played it.
Neither of you played it?
No, it sucks, right?
Oh my god.
No, never.
I actually did
to it.
try it recently. Like the whole, you know, remake trailer got me like hyped. So and like I did buy it on PC the PC port a while ago. So I finally decided to try it, and like I have to say it's really really impressive. But like I've never liked turn-based strategy. I mean turn-based RPG or whatever. Like it's just a mechanic that I've really always disliked. But I thought like the actual battle mechanics were actually pretty good. Like it felt like a lot more fun than the other turn-based games I've played. The only thing is that was bugging me a little bit is you can't go very far without having to do another battle. Like you're constantly having to do
the
them.
random battles, yeah.
Yeah, like, and I think that's just something that I'm gonna have to get past for, you know, because I really do want to play it because I've always heard that it's, you know, the greatest game ever and stuff, like from a lot of people. I mean, I know some people say that the best Final Fantasy is 6, but personally I'm much more excited to play 7 than 6. Like it's just a monumental game as far as like PlayStation goes and just gaming in general. And I'm definitely, I mean, either way, when the remake comes out, I'm playing that. Like,
Yep.
Even if I haven't played the original, I'm playing that.
I feel a lot
sure.
like a lot of 7 is kind of like a lost art now. Like the turn-based battle system, like people don't like that anymore. But there isn't really a good solution for it. Like I feel like in the Final Fantasy games now, even like I was playing Kingdom Hearts, like I can't even get into it. Like I hate not being able to control all 3 of my characters, you know?
Yeah, your allies are dumb in that game.
Yeah, like I hate having them on a stupid like computer AI controlled, you know, record where they just keep doing the same shit over and over.
Change their behavior you can change their behavior a little bit, but that's it. Like in the menu, there's like a option for having them do more healing or more defending, and other than that, you can't directly control
Right,
them.
but then they just don't manage it correctly. So like they'll just like, for instance, Donald Duck is over there casting fire, and then he's got no more magic power, and he's either using up all our ether or just dying because he has no HP. It's really annoying, and I feel like that's kind of like the solution now is, they come up with kind of a complicated system as to how your computer companions are supposed to attack, so you can be active the whole time. But it's just not a good solution. Like, you need to be able to control everybody. Mass Effect, I think, probably had the best way of doing that, where you can still control the partners, but you're only controlling one guy.
Yeah, I actually was playing that recently too, and that's another really good game. That I could definitely see someone putting Mass Effect 2 or on their top 5 list as well. But 7, I definitely have to play that. Like, whether it's the original or the remake, I just have. Hey, do either of you guys have the PS1 Classic for like? Have you tried it on the Vita?
No, I'm waiting till it comes out on PS4 because I think it's gonna have trophies this time around.
You mean the PC port one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another. I guess I could wait for that too. Yeah.
When that comes out, I'll probably buy it, try it out there before the remake.
Right.
Yeah.
I just hope they preserve enough in the remake to keep it true to the original. Because there's rumors they're gonna really change the battle system, and I'll be really pissed off if you're not controlling every character. Like if they have some stupid system in there to make it active, I'll hate that.
Yeah, like I said, I don't really like turn-based, but if they made it not turn-based, I think that would be bullshit. Like, they can't, if they're going to do a remake, they can't change it that much. Like, I think that would be messed up if they did that, because other than people like me who, have never played it, it would just not be a good thing, and I think it would just piss people off, so hopefully they don't change that. It kind of reminds me of the, Kojima getting rid of David Hayter as Snake. Like, I feel like that's just a move that you should not make, because the longtime fans of the series are just not going to be okay with that, no matter what. Like, no matter how well it's done, it's just not going to feel like the same game to them.
It seems like especially for the remake, that seems like such a strange decision if they were to do that, because
hopefully,
like, the people that have been screaming for this game for like over a decade, they love the original, so why would you change something that's so like integral to what makes it so important to those people?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's like an essential part of the original, pretty much. So, hopefully,
anyway,
that is just
that's
a
my
rumor.
number one.
Awesome.
Cool, number one.
Good one.
All right. My number one is Metal Gear Solid 3.
Nice.
Yeah, I like the first one a lot, and I was debating whether choosing the first one, the third one. Really, it was those two, but I was also thinking of 4 because I love 4, just because 4 is pretty much just a fan service.
Yeah, that's why it's my favorite one.
Yeah, exactly. 4 isn't even the best. 4 is just good because it's like Kojima was like, here's what all the players like about Solid Snake. Let's just put it in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, 4 is good. No, but 3 is my number one mainly because they take this bad guy, he's like the, I never played Metal Gear, like the original on the was it MSX or something like that? Yeah. That Big Boss, well, he was the bad guy in that one, correct? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that, and also too. But yeah, I thought that it was just interesting that I take this character that was once a villain and they try to humanize him, to give his character some value. It's interesting that they went in that approach and didn't just like make more of Solid Snake in his stories. Especially after the second Metal Gear Solid, because it was a very cliffhanger ending where you could have gone with Solid Snake still. Yeah. It was a very interesting choice for them to go with Big Boss, and decidedly so. It was a phenomenal story even then, because it gives him reason to even it makes Big Boss interesting, which I like now that they're continuing with that.
Yeah.
With Peace Walker and then with 5, because it's like pretty much leading up to like his downfall. Like it's taking this heroic man and making him into this guy who will one day be this ultimate villain. Reminds me a lot of like just of TV shows of Breaking Bad, just stuff like that. Where a character just gets put down, like thrown down into like this rotten well. Yeah, I think it's just phenomenal the way that they did that when developing the story for this character. Also, just like a lot of those scenes are memorable. The same with the first one. Like the bosses are pretty memorable too. It also gives people you meet in the first one and the second one, it gives them a backstory as well, like from when they were younger and stuff, like Ocelot. And then it's a phenomenal prequel. I love it a lot. 3 is just my favorite game, not of all time, but just it's up there, and it is the greatest game of all time if you ask me.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you guys did you guys play 3?
Oh yeah, I actually just finished replaying it a second time just a couple weeks ago. I love it. I'd say that like you said, the best in the series is between 1 and 3 for sure. Although 4 is my favorite, but if it wasn't for 1 and 2 and 3, it wouldn't be. Like it on its own, it's not the best in my opinion. Like, but with everything considered, like all the fan service, it is my favorite, like in the series. But 3 is absolutely incredible. I also really liked how that was like the first one to have third person camera view.
Yeah, which is a little jarring at first, but once you get used to it, it feels natural. It feels right.
Yeah, like it definitely feels great. And like it's just an incredible story because as a standalone story, I think it's like maybe as good as 1, which is no small feat because I thought 1 had an incredible story. It's just, and the gameplay is really amazing too. I know like the whole food system is a little bit controversial. Personally, I liked it. Like, what did you think about the whole eating and that whole system?
The food, it became a small nuisance, but I was fine with it. It made sense, and it wasn't too big of a deal. Where I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah, I actually kind of liked it. Steven, did you get to play 3?
No, like I said, I just never could get into 2 on the HD collection. I wanted to play all of them because I own all of them, but no, I never was able to get into it. I couldn't get into 2 for some reason.
You should try 3. 3 isn't really related to the first 2.
Really?
I actually did have the same problem with 2 when I first played it on PS2. I just couldn't get into it. Like I remember I got to that first boss fight with Olga and just pretty much gave up. Like, part of it was that I was a very different gamer back then, and I wasn't a big fan of the camera views. But also, like, it's probably my least favorite in the series. Even now that I love the series, that one is probably my least favorite. That and Peace
I think that's
Walker.
my challenge too. Is like trying to deal with that camera view at the beginning. Like I don't even know. Like it's just so frustrating to me.
Yeah.
Not having any direction, having to deal with the camera and stuff.
I mean, the other thing I would say though, I do think it's pretty important for you to play the first one before you play 2, though. That's another thing. Did you play the first one? Didn't you say you did?
I watched it on YouTube. I watched it straight through, so I know the whole story.
Oh, okay. So you know the story. All right. In that case, never mind about that. But, I would say it's worth going through, getting through the teething problems you might have with it at first. Because I had the same issue when I first tried it on PS2, but now even though it's my least favorite, I still love the game. Like I still think it's an incredible game. The whole series in general is just amazing. So it's kind of, I may talk down about it a little bit, but it's still a really good game. So it's worth replaying. And I mean, just so that you can play 3 and 4 and 5, hopefully, because I mean, it's just an incredible series, and I hope 5 ends up being as good as it looks. I think it probably will. But I'm also a little bit afraid that it's gonna not seem enough like a Metal Gear game, because the codec calls are
It
gone.
doesn't seem like one. Yeah.
There's much less cutscenes, but it's still like in the same universe, and there's still some really cool things, like the fact that you're gonna see Psycho Mantis and some of the other characters like Ocelot when they were young, and learn so much more about Big Boss, and like that's what gets me like just giddy about this game. Although at the same time I do have some concerns, like I'm not happy with David Hayter getting replaced. Although I am a big fan of Jack Bauer. Like Jack Bauer's a badass, but like you can't replace Hayter. Hayter is just like, he is Snake. And I'm kind of
hoping that it's like some kind of trick here, and somehow he is in the game.
That would be hilarious, honestly.
I would love that.
Because Kojima is like a huge troll, but it's seeming not likely to me. But
no.
Also the other thing is like, I don't know if that trailer, it was really showing what it seemed like it, but we might see the twin snakes, Snake and Solid and Liquid, and when they're young. And some people have theories why that's not possible, but other people have theories why it is. I'm just really excited for that game, to
see how this story unfolds.
Oh yeah, for sure. And personally, I think gameplay wise, I think it looks like it's going to be the best in the series. Because even Ground Zeroes, in my opinion, might have been the best gameplay in the series so far. And Phantom Pain just looks that much better and that much more refined and polished, and that much deeper, especially because it's 200 times the size, and you have so many more mechanics that you can use. And every time I see like a demo for that game, it just looks better and better. But that was a really fun podcast. I thought we all had some pretty awesome lists. It's kind of
good list show.
Funny with some of the similarities.
Yeah, it's funny that we overlap for sure.
Yeah. I mean, we are a PlayStation podcast, so I guess it's not too surprising. But
right.
I really don't even think that. I don't think that our lists were similar because we're PlayStation fans. I think we're PlayStation fans because of the games we mentioned. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think
probably
exactly. The fact that we're fans of PlayStation isn't just because we're fans of PlayStation. It's because of the games. And I think these lists are a perfect example of why we're such big fans of PlayStation, because they just have an incredible games. Their first parties are pretty much. I don't think anyone would say that they're not like the best in the industry as far as like a whole first party package. I think some fans might say Nintendo or whatever, but I think a lot of people, even people that don't have PlayStation, really respect the studios that PlayStation has as first parties. So I don't think anyone can blame us for being fans.
Yeah. Nope.
But that was really fun. I guess we'll end it. That was a good one. Thanks for listening,
Glad to be
everybody.
back.
What?
Yeah.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, it's been a while. But it was a good way to come back. Came back with a bang.
Right. Exactly.
But all right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.